Halloween greetings!
And welcome to a very vintage Halloween party here at Cobweb Cottage.
We are Jack and Jill O'Lantern, and we have a lot of tricks and treats for you. But first, let's put on some Halloween costumes. Wow.
Oh wow! You look incredible as Jonas.
Oh, and you must be Lindsay.
Oh, how could you tell?
Because it's those wonderful curls and the red lipstick.
Oh yes, of course.
So thank you for joining us.
And in this video, we are going to be answering some questions about spooky season sent in by our Cozy Cottage Club members. So it should be a very cozy time chatting about all things vintage Halloween, pumpkin carving, Sleepy Hollow, and perhaps even a few ghost stories.
Ooh. Make sure you stick around till the end because we are celebrating 40,000 subscribers with a giveaway.
Yay!
Where you can win a piece of art from me with my very good friend Pompidou.
We love him.
And we might throw in some postcards and a sticker. So pour yourself a cup of something cozy.
And let's have an old-fashioned Halloween jamboree here at Cobweb Cottage. Wait, not yet. We're waiting for the trick-or-treaters, remember?
Okay. Cheers for this Q&A. And the first question is, what would our perfect day be like during spooky season?
How would you start the day?
Well, I would start with a good brunch and maybe some old classic cartoons.
That's a great way to start the morning, especially if it's like a rainy or foggy morning. Really cozy. And in the afternoon, we would go out for a walk, either in a local cemetery or go to a farm and get some apple cider donuts and walk around the pumpkin patch there.
Always around the pumpkin patch. Having conversations with the fruit. And in the evening, maybe like a Halloween event or something.
Yeah, like last year for our birthdays, we went to a Sleepy Hollow musical, and it was in this old church, and it was really like cozy, spooky, and yeah, that was the end of a perfect day. Absolutely.
It was so atmospheric. And it's, you have a special invention that people really get like hyped up for. Some sort of dessert.
A wonderful way to end any spooky day for me is with an apple cider float. So apple cider, and vanilla ice cream. Try it. It'll blow your mind. And the next question is, how do you slow down and enjoy Halloween time during a busy season?
The spooky season for us is our most busy time of the year. And sometimes it's like so overwhelming because it's just the two of us that do pretty much everything.
We often feel like we're losing our heads, but what do we do to still slow down and enjoy our favorite season?
We pick up the head, put them in a box, send them on a vacation while we're doing all the work here.
That would work. But of course, we're very thankful for all the extra work and opportunities that we get during spooky season, but it just can be quite a lot. So we try to make sure that we carve out time to spend time together, to go out for walks while the leaves are still, falling. We never want to miss a chance to see the leaves fall, do we?
No, and actually there is such a good quote that you once said. Never miss the chances to see the leaves fall.
I did say that once,
and
didn't
I wrote it down because I thought it was so good. But I really think it's important to just take a small moment, even if it's just a short moment, to just relax.
Yeah, just even
do something for yourself.
Pouring a cup of tea. Our birthdays are right before Halloween, so we always just try to make sure that we schedule in time to celebrate our birthdays and not be too stressed. So I know I kind of say something like this every year of what I like to call autumn anxiety. Basically, I know so many people love fall and the Halloween season so much that we're all so afraid to miss out on any of the fun festivities, but that can just put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And I think something I always have to remind myself about is that every year is just going to look a little bit different than the other, and that's okay. That's actually what makes these moments charming and memorable.
And the next question is, what are some of your favorite cozy spooky movies and books?
What are some of your favorite movies to watch?
Every year we used to watch Arsenic and Old Lace, the classic old movie.
Yeah.
It's really charming.
No.
Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow is always a modern classic, I'd say. And Hocus Pocus.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that comes with a cozy spook.
Yes, we don't really watch very many horror movies, so the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow is probably about as much as I can
As bad
handle.
as it gets.
Just because the aesthetic is amazing, so I just close my eyes for different parts. But more along the lines of what we like is like the Disney Sleepy Hollow, and even the Wishbone Sleepy Hollow. If you guys have seen it, you know what I mean. It made such an impression on me as a child, and I honestly think it's kind of what made me who I am today.
And let's mention some books. Do you have any special ones?
Usually I don't get around to reading too much, but we did recently read The Ghost and Mrs. Muir in our Cozy Cottage book club over on Patreon, and it was always a movie that I grew up like loving very much. And so I finally read the book, and oh my gosh.
And lately I've been more and more interested in graphic novels, because it's something special to find good graphic novels with like atmospheric and cozy sceneries.
You've been reading the Over the Garden Wall series, which is really great. And then this month in the Cozy Cottage book club, we are reading Garlic and the Vampire.
Mm-hmm. A very cozy read. But there's also other media that we enjoy during this time of year, which is playing games. It's very relaxing sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I heard some trick-or-treaters at the door, so
Oh,
I think I'm gonna go give them some candy.
yeah. And that gives me a chance to thank June's Journey for sponsoring this video. June's Journey is a 1920s themed hidden objects mystery game. It follows the story of June Parker, who cleverly uncovers clues about her sister's mysterious murder, and she starts to uncover family secrets to get to the truth. I don't know about you, but I love a cozy murder mystery TV series, and this game feels just like that, but even better, because you get to feel like June's detective sidekick and follow the clues through different chapters as the thrilling murder mystery story unfolds. I love searching for the hidden items in opulent vintage and beautifully designed scenes that are a feast for the eyes. This game is so relaxing and helps me unwind after a long day with the relaxing music and cozy environments. You even get to remodel and customize June's family mansion on a beautiful garden island along the journey. And look, I even have Halloween decor there all year round. This game is so perfect if you love vintage like I do. If you'd like to play the game along with me, then click my link in the description box below to download June's Journey for free, or scan the QR code on the screen. June's Journey is available on Android as well as iOS mobile devices and on PC through Facebook Games. Thank you to June's Journey for sponsoring this video.
It wasn't any trick-or-treaters.
No?
It was Pompidou. He wanted to borrow some
Aw.
sugar because he's baking an apple pie.
Ooh.
And he invited us for a little picnic later.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be so much fun.
The next question is especially for you,
Okay.
because it's what's your best Halloween thrift tips?
Oh, okay. I could talk all day about vintage Halloween decor. I found some of my best holiday decorations at estate sales, so you can find some really interesting, unique things. And it doesn't always have to be necessarily Halloween, but it could have just like a old witchy kind of aesthetic. I definitely keep my eye out for anything that's kind of primitive, rustic, and of course like folk art style. And if I happen to be able to find something that I really just have had my eye on for a long time, then I will go to eBay or Poshmark, Mercari, places like that online on the off seasons to find wonderful treasures like this.
I'm not afraid of him because he's so
No.
cute.
I know, he's he's just adorable.
And to knit the thrifting sack together, we do have a video about the thrifting and like all the sorts of things you mentioned, and we go deeper in the art of thrifting.
Yes. Actually, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today, we have full videos on somewhere on the channel. So the next question is, why is Halloween our favorite holiday? Maybe you could start with any favorite childhood memories.
Well, that's easy. There was none, because when I grew up in Sweden, they didn't have a Halloween, because instead we have something that we call All Saints Eve, and that's a pretty cozy holiday. It's kind of the same date as Halloween, and you honor the dearly departed family member or relatives that's moved on. And you put candles on their graves, maybe a little lantern. If you imagine a birthday cake with like 1,000 candles, you know, the glow it make, like it glows up a whole room. That's the effect it is to walk in a cemetery during All Saints Eve.
But how do you say the holiday in Swedish?
Alla helgons dag.
So I think it's so fascinating that you did not grow up with really anything related to Halloween.
And this is a little funny because speaking of pumpkins, I didn't know they existed because I've seen them in like cartoons and stuff. And I thought it was like a fantasy fairy tale sort of creature, or you know, it's a weird fruit if you think about it.
Oh my gosh.
Like transforming into a carriage in you know, Disney. And actually I was a little afraid of pumpkins, you know, because they were like they could do anything, like they could like bounce and like you know.
The vines are all
the vines.
Yeah, I could see that.
So Lindsay, if I ask you the same question, what was your favorite childhood Halloween memory?
I have fond memories of growing up in California, and going to Disneyland at Halloween season was just like pure magic. I spent many of my birthdays at Disneyland, and because my birthday is so close to Halloween, I would always get Halloween cards as birthday cards, and so I just feel like just a lot of warm, happy memories surrounding all the festivities growing up. Although I did not grow up going trick-or-treating at all.
So when was the first time you trick-or-treated?
So I technically never really trick-or-treated, but I did go with a group of friends to this really popular trick-or-treating spot just to watch other people trick-or-treat with their families, just to see like, oh, there's that, and feel like, you know, in a scene from a movie.
That was one of my first Halloween memories, the first Halloween I experienced in California with you, and it was just to walk around and look at people. We were dressed out. I think I was a vampire.
Oh yeah.
And you were
I don't remember.
Something else.
The Wicked Witch or something.
As you said, as if you were in a movie.
I feel like it's this scene from Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
You know, the trick-or-treating scene. So don't you think it's so interesting that Halloween has become our favorite shared holiday, even with our different upbringings? I think because our birthdays are both so close to Halloween, that it just, the end of October for us just feels like this big Halloween birthday bash. And it's a lot of fun for us. So Jonas, we all want to know the story of how you, as a Swede, not growing up with Halloween or pumpkins, became a professional pumpkin carver.
I could never guess if someone had told me, like, oh, in a few years you will become a pumpkin carver. That will actually be the first job you have in America, which it was. And it's actually thanks to you that you were signed up to a newsletter from this Rise of the Jack-o'-lantern event. And you signed up when we lived in Sweden.
Because I missed Halloween a lot, because it's starting to catch on in Sweden.
When we had moved, they were looking for artists. So I applied and sent in my samples and got hired. And I've been with the studio ever since.
So how many seasons have you been with the Rise of the Jack-o'-lanterns?
This is my ninth season. Next year is 2-digit. And I must say I learned a lot. Just in the beginning I was struggling, and it was pretty hard to get used to the, you know, the round surface. It's not the most common surface to paint on. So it was a lot of things to get used to. They kept me, and I'm glad for that, and here we are.
So you started out in California, and it's just amazing how when we had relocated to the East Coast, and then we ended up being in the Sleepy Hollow country area around Halloween time, creative director that you got to know from California was back at the home base in New York, and reached out and said, hey, if you want a seasonal job, right? And you took it, and we started to look for places to live around the area, and we thought it was just going to be a temporary thing. And almost 7 years later, we're still here.
Pumpkins is what brought us here.
So literally, pumpkins brought us to Sleepy Hollow. I think that's a pretty cool story.
And just to clarify one thing, it's not the Blaze I'm working for, it's Rise of the Jack-o'-lanterns. They are kind of hard to keep apart.
They're easily confused, but 2 different events, 2 different studios. The Rise of the Jack-o'-lanterns has a location on Long Island, and they recently moved to a new location, which we haven't been to yet, so I really hope we can get to do that this year. It's been a few years since we've been able to go through the Halloween experience, walking trails. It's always like such a fun experience.
And if you visit Blaze and or Rise of the Jack-o'-lanterns, it doesn't matter. It's the festive environment.
So Jonas, what do you prefer, to work with real pumpkins or foam pumpkins?
Well, both gives good results, but I do prefer real pumpkins because it's something organic. By holding a real pumpkin, it has its own personality, and you don't have to use a vibrating tool to work on a real pumpkin.
Because with the foam ones, you have to wear like a whole face mask.
It creates a lot of dust,
yeah.
So you have to have a good mask on with filters and stuff, and you have to be suited up, and it's really messy and uncomfortable.
But I mean, also real pumpkins can be messy too, because I've helped out at the studio with you a few times of taking out all the pumpkin guts of these like 100-pound pumpkins, and that is, wow, such a tough job.
Yeah.
But and like a fun experience.
You're a good worker.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I feel strong now. What's so great about helping out at the studio is that I get to see some of your pumpkins lit up at the studio before they get shipped out to the different locations.
Yeah, that's always one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, it's so magical to see them lit up, and yours details are so amazing. And another pumpkin carving question. Do you have any plans for a carving 101 kind of video or an online pumpkin carving class someday?
This year was the first time I ever did my own workshop together with the Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown's Historic Society, and it was really fun, and I will definitely do something again. It
was definitely like a whole new world for us, and we were just incredibly grateful to receive an art grant with the Historical Society as a part of this Carving Legends from Gravestone to Gourds exhibit, walking tours, and workshops. It was just this like incredible experience to team up with a wonderful team at the Historical Society. And I think if it wasn't for their help for this first workshop, I don't know if we would ever try it on our own.
It was kind of less scary with them by our side, if I put it that way.
They know how to host workshops and tours and group settings, and we had never done anything like that before. So thank you to the Historical Society. It was a magical experience, and we were super nervous leading up to it. And we have a whole behind the scenes process on Patreon because there's so much to tell about the whole experience. But Jonas, you did such a good job teaching for the first time.
Oh, thank you.
It was so fun to see the audience reaction. Everyone came away with their own unique spin on the different designs that you created for the class. And it was just so cool to see everyone's creativity come out.
Everyone left happy.
Oh yeah, seeing everyone walking away with their pumpkins, I mean, how much better can it get than that?
That's the reward.
Yeah. So if it wasn't for this experience with the Historical Society, I don't think we would ever have the confidence to consider like doing more workshops or an online course. The tricky thing with that is figuring out how to make time for that during our super busy Halloween season.
One option would be to go to Australia in the springtime. Have I understand it have their Halloween season or fall season?
They must have pumpkins, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
At least pumpkins. So. That's one idea. So we'll see.
And the next couple of questions is about visiting Sleepy Hollow, and we get those questions quite a lot.
We do, and I feel like this year has been more questions than ever, so much that we finally took the time to update our travel guide on our website. We have that linked below, listed as much information as we can. I know eventually we should really do a YouTube video about visiting Sleepy Hollow. The thing is that events just constantly come and go, and things change around here all the time, and it's getting, busier each year. So I'm always a little nervous to make a video dedicated to travel tips. That's why we really trust our blog post travel guide if you would like all of our best recommendations. We can give you a few tips right now for October since there's still a little time left to visit. So one of the questions was, is it important to plan your trip, really far in advance? And I think it kind of depends what you're wanting to do. If you really want to see some of the performances or go to the Blaze, then those tickets that run through the historic Hudson Valley usually start going on sale in like July or August, and they sell out very quickly. So if you want to make sure you see Jonathan Kruk tell the legend of Sleepy Hollow, or see Hulda, the other legend of Sleepy Hollow, then definitely try to get those tickets as soon as you can. There's a lot of locations throughout Sleepy Hollow, these historic buildings like Lyndhurst and the Octagon House that we really enjoy visiting. And some of the locations you have to have a ticket to enter the property. So my other recommendation is just always double check the location's website. Make sure you're following the code of conduct for the different locations so everyone just has a happy time. But if you're planning to maybe visit Sleepy Hollow last minute, there are some free events you can do. I mean, it's fun just to walk around, enjoy the whole atmosphere. You can visit the cemetery before it closes at 4:30 every day. The Tarrytown Halloween Parade is free event. Just can be tricky to find parking if you don't get there early enough. But also the Olditch Church Fest is coming back this year. I'm so excited. And that's a great place to hopefully see the Headless Horseman.
So we have a little joke about Sleepy Hollow nowadays. It really lives up to its name because everyone has no time to sleep during Halloween season. But I must say that Sleepy Hollow is really beautiful in November. It's like less crowded, and
yeah, definitely.
You can still see some good fall foliage.
And some of the events are still running in November now.
Not only does Halloween comes earlier and earlier every year, it becomes longer and longer too.
And we often get asked where people can find your pumpkins around Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown and your artwork for sale.
You can get my artwork at Bella's Boutique. And she have a lot of my artwork now, and you can get like art prints, postcards, and some bookmarks.
Yeah.
And it's a fun shop. She have pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's a great gift shop, and it's so cute. You have like this whole shelf. It started out as like a little section a few years ago, and then it's just grown to this whole shelf.
The shop owner is very nice.
Yeah, they're so kind.
When it comes to pumpkins, the restaurant Horse Feathers have a little of her own blaze, as
she started calling it her mini blaze.
A mini blaze. And I've been doing one pumpkin a year for her for like the last 5 years, I would say. And
so now there's like this growing pumpkin patch of your foam pumpkins.
You can see 2 of my other pumpkins in the Octagon House. I'm spreading my wings.
I know, who knows where they'll keep popping up next.
And another question that we get a lot is where to stay in Sleepy Hollow.
Which is kind of a funny question.
Where should you stay?
For us, since we've never had a reason to stay anywhere here. So it's hard for us to give you a recommendation. There are a handful of hotels in Tarrytown, but I've been hearing more and more that they're just like all booked up like all the time. Yeah, it seems like we're going to be needing some more accommodations around here. It wouldn't hurt if there was like a really charming old inn or something, or a cozy bed and breakfast, because unfortunately there really aren't any in Sleepy Hollow country, and I hope that eventually that will come to the area.
So what's your favorite part about Halloween season in Sleepy Hollow?
I know it can get crowded and busy, but there are moments where it really is so magical. It's really thanks to Washington Irving that even the town is associated with Halloween because of the legend and the Headless Horseman and throwing his pumpkin head at Ichabod Crane. So for us, what's so special about Sleepy Hollow is the moments when it really feels like you're living in a Halloween town. We don't really do all the like ghost horror kind of scary events, but we love the fun, family-friendly kind of events, and those ones just kind of bring out everyone together. It just creates this dynamic. If you're all in costume and everything, it's so festive, and everyone's just kind of like complimenting each other on their costumes and taking pictures together, and just I can't describe it except that you really feels like being in a scene from Halloween Town.
It's kind of like when monsters come together, they have a jolly good time.
Yeah, exactly. And what else is so lovely about Halloween time in Sleepy Hollow is when some of our friends come to visit the area and we get to kind of play tour guide for them.
Show off.
No.
Sometimes when friends come and visit, you kind of see stuff that you normally don't really pay attention to.
And it's always so magical seeing their experience of Sleepy Hollow for the first time, and I feel like we get to kind of relive the magic of how it feels. And recently I had the pleasure of spending a whole afternoon with Midge Munster. If you don't already know who she is, she's a vintage spooky YouTuber and she is fabulous, and we had such a fun afternoon together. And you couldn't be there because you were pumpkin carving.
Yeah, I'm sad I missed her.
I know, but hopefully she'll be back for a visit. And one of the highlights of my time with Midge was that we took a Terry Hollow walking tour of the Olditch Church burying grounds. So it's a separate tour than the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. The two cemeteries are connected but totally separate entities actually. The Historical Society of Sleepy Hollow in Terrytown runs these Terry Hollow walking tours, and they are fantastic because you get to learn all about the legends and the people buried in the grounds there that Washington Irving walked around and got inspired hearing the stories about them and used some of their names like Katrina and Brom Bones to put into his legends. And it was an extra special treat that we got my friend Michelle, who is Sleepy Hollow Spellbound on Instagram, as our tour guide, and she did an absolutely fantastic job. And it was so much fun hanging out with Michelle and Midge in the cemetery. I mean, what a better way for a couple of ghouls to spend the afternoon. Look who I found! Beautiful ghoul gang here, aren't we? Hanging out with No, I feel like I'm in the ghoul gang today with you guys, so it's really
my favorite glamour ghouls.
Glamour ghoul, yeah.
Ghouls just have fun.
Ghouls just want to have fun.
Another question we got is, how does it feel to get recognized in Sleepy Hollow? And that's happened more and more lately, and it's a good sign. I mean, it must mean that we do something right. Am I right?
Or at least that the YouTube algorithm blessed one of our Sleepy Hollow videos, so it just gotten a lot more views this year. It's just such an interesting experience, you know?
So it is surrealistic.
Very. When you get to see the faces to the viewers, it's just like my brain can't quite comprehend. So nice to hear that so many of you have come to visit Sleepy Hollow just because of our videos. Yeah, I guess I just feel like I'm not worthy for anyone to get excited to meet me. So that's why I sometimes just get a little overwhelmed when it starts happening and I get kind of shy.
For us, it really means a lot to hear that something that we created have been meaningful to someone.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Definitely.
So let's jump back to some questions about Cobweb Cottage. What is your favorite Halloween memory in Cobweb Cottage?
Usually after a very busy October, often Halloween night, we don't go out and do a bunch of crazy stuff. We just like to stay in at the cottage, have our own little Halloween party, just the two of us.
I remember one time we even did trick or treat for ourselves, you know, we took turns, and that's one of my favorite memories.
You're usually so busy all season carving pumpkins for everyone else that we don't get to carve our own pumpkins just for fun, like just a good old jack-o'-lantern. Last year we had our own little party and we carved this like kind of vintage style jack-o'-lantern face while we were listening to an old-timey radio broadcast, a like Halloween episode from the Jack Benny show. I realized that, oh, Jack Benny, that's like the perfect name for a vintage style jack-o'-lantern. So we got so attached to Jack Benny that we kept him as long as we could into November, and we took him out on a little field trip to the cemetery next door.
We had him climb a tree. It was really fun.
We miss Jack Benny.
So we live next to a historic cemetery, and what do you think that's like?
We have the best quiet neighbors.
Yeah.
Besides that, living next to a historic cemetery has been like one of the coolest experiences
Mm.
of anywhere we've lived. So I know some people might get weirded out by living next to a cemetery, and that's okay. But personally, we find it just very peaceful,
Mm.
and especially at Halloween season, it's just so beautiful in the cemetery.
It's very colorful and it's like a park to stroll through.
So on a beautiful fall day, we love to go out for a stroll or perhaps a picnic. It's just so much scope for the imagination there, just reading all the different names and dates and just seeing the different styles of the headstone carvings are just so fascinating. And so there are a few favorite ones that we like to visit and sometimes leave little gifts for.
At least I imagine us being very likable there. If there is ghosts, I think the ghosts likes us a lot.
Yeah, I hope somebody
We-
is happy that we're
We
visiting.
try to respect them.
Definitely. So we've never felt afraid in the cemetery except one time last year.
Well, that time it was a bear visiting.
Yes.
But I think he was curious to just, tag along the picnic.
Our little teddy bear picnic, maybe?
So do we have any ghost stories to share?
I know. For people who spend a lot of time at historic haunted places and old cemeteries, we sadly do not have a lot of ghost stories to share.
It feels like we should have a lot of them.
I know. We don't mean to disappoint you.
Although, when we went to Vermont, we had some kind of encounter.
We were in Manchester and we went to dinner at the Ye Old Tavern, and it's pretty old, a historic building.
Yeah.
We had a delightful dinner, and then I believe it was that the restrooms were upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went up first and then you came and then you were waiting for me or something.
Yes.
I don't remember all what was upstairs, but there was this one particular room that was like, had the door kind of open and the lights were really dim in there.
Mm.
And it just kind of like, you kind of felt like pulled to it.
It felt like someone was there or somebody.
And there was this music playing in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, there was music downstairs in the restaurant too, but it was like a different
Yeah, this was more like
music.
Like old music, sort of.
Like old ballroom music.
Yeah.
Didn't really say anything to each other at the time, but I instantly felt like, well, we're not alone in here. Like there is something going. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. But it wasn't like a scary feeling, but
it felt like ghost that was dancing,
kind of like the Haunted Mansion feeling, like the ballroom ghosts. It kind of felt like we were in the middle of that, but we couldn't see it happening.
As you said, we didn't tell each other until we went outside.
And we were like, wait, what?
Yeah,
felt it
you
too?
felt it too?
And then come to find out later, I researched about this tavern, and it is indeed a haunted historic house. That's our ghost story.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not super exciting.
But the local legends here are Jack and Jill and
Yes.
Pompidou.
We try to bring happy haunts is what we're after. And the very last question is a festive one about what is our dream Halloween costumes or couple costume ideas. Fun fact is that we, in our 11 years of marriage, have only done one couple costume.
Was probably my first Halloween too.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes. So I wanted to have a really fun first Halloween for you. We were invited to my friend's Halloween party. We went as Xena and Hercules.
Like the TV show.
And looking back, I realized that we went really hardcore with making our outfits. Kind of bought my Xena costume, like a warrior outfit, added a bunch of my own stuff, and we made your whole Hercules thing by hand.
The night before, we were up super late and was sewing.
I know.
And I was so tired.
I can't believe that was our last real couple's costume, and I think that needs to change. I guess it's just ever since you started pumpkin carving that we just never have time for costumes, and we don't have space to keep a lot of costumes. But some of our dream couple's costumes I think would be so fun would be like Dorothy and the Scarecrow.
I would like to be Billy Butcherson, but I don't know. who you would be then.
We might have a couple's costume planned for this Halloween season that, if it will come together, we're pretty excited about it.
So we would like to thank you all for the lovely questions. It was really fun to dig a little deeper and go through these questions.
It was. So we really hope you enjoyed hearing all of our answers, and thank you for joining in our spooky little time here at the cottage. So we have a few treats left to share with you all. Since this October had a Friday the 13th, we knew we wanted to do something special.
We decided to do a sale in my Etsy shop, the Woodland Library, that has all the my Sleepy Hollow art prints, and you can find postcards there, and our cozy cottage postcards, and the fall bucket list, to mention a few.
So the sale is going to be running from Friday the 13th until the end of October, so the 31st. And it's going to be 13% off orders of $13 or more. And just use the code Friday13.
So take the opportunity to be lucky this Friday the 13th.
We can't thank you enough for all of the support on our videos and in your Etsy shop this Halloween season. It's been so wonderful, and we feel so supported. And we had a few questions about if we would be bringing back our collaboration with Storybook Candle Company with our Halloween cottage candle. And all we can say is keep your eyes out, and we may have another treat in store for you. And we have lots of treats for our Cozy Cottage Club members over on Patreon. We're sharing playlists and all kinds of cozy spooky stuff, exclusive videos, and even a coloring contest over there if you'd like to be a part of that. And last but not least, let's talk about the giveaway to celebrate 40,000 subscribers. To win all these lovely goodies, we have a question for you. What does your dream Halloween costume and party look like? To enter the giveaway, you must write your response to the question in the pinned comment below. That's the only way that the comment will count. And you have until October 20th to enter, and we will be sending out to a winner before Halloween. And while you're down in the pinned comment leaving your answers, don't forget to download June's Journey for free with our link and help solve the mysteries.
It's almost midnight here at Cobby Cottage, and it's high time for us to go out to the cemetery and join Pompidou and the picnic and try his lovely apple pie.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
I'm excited.
So thank you so much for joining us here for this very vintage Halloween party, and we're wishing you all the best for a very cozy, spooky season. Bye for now.
Bye for now.